In today's video, we're going to go through how to enter a payment for a pay request. We're going to add that payment to a deposit ticket. And then also, because we're utilizing True Accounting, we're going to post all of those source documents that we're going to create today to our financials. We're in the contract module here. We've received a check from our GC, and we just need to go and pull up that pay request and enter in that payment for that specific record within the system. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate to our pay requests and payments that we're going to be applying to for our particular contract. Today, it's going to be our True Software client for the Tropicana Field project. So I'm going to select the record. We're going to navigate to the financial section of the contract. And as we can see here, we've got some balances. It looks like we've invoiced a little bit of the work, but we need to go ahead and put in a payment for the pay request. So I'm going to navigate to the pay request module. As we can see, we've got our one pay app here that's been billed out. Looks like there's an element of retention, but we've got a balance here. In most cases, our GC is going to remit payment for our pay requests less the amount of retention. So it's important that when we see our payments, that's going to be matching up with the dollar amount of our pay app that is showing an amount due, or a balance, if you will. So from the hamburger icon, we're going to select the payments section here. This is going to generate a transaction. And we know that all transactions that are created in the system are either linked to a bank account, as if we're paying records or paying bills, or in this case, we want to be able to link this payment to an undeposited funds account. We know that using True Accounting, we want to enter all of our receipts. We want these receipts to flow to that undeposited funds account, and then we add the receipts to a deposit ticket, which makes the movements from undeposited funds to our checking account. So very clearly here, when we utilize that payment button from the pay request, True is going to realize that, hey, we're trying to input a receipt, that type there. The method of payment, that's going to be a requirement for us to create this transaction. I'm going to go ahead and select the check option here today, because it's typically how most of our GCs are paying us. The transaction date here, this could be backdated based on the date of the check. I'm going to keep it easy and just use today's date. We can see that True is automatically pulling in this account, or this client, True Software, as that's in accordance to how the contract is set up with the client record here. And most importantly, this bank account / credit card field. Now, if we don't want to utilize the undeposited funds account and we don't want to create deposit tickets, we want to simply put in these payments and have that automatically debit our checking account that's located on our balance sheet. This would be the opportunity for me to select the bank account. But in most cases, our True Accounting customers are entering these receipts, having the receipts flow to undeposited funds, and then we create those deposit tickets, as I mentioned earlier, to make those movements in our financials. Now, the amount field here, True is going to always propagate the amount based on the balance that's on the particular pay request. We could modify this amount. Oftentimes, we find that our users are having to modify this based on the amount that's being paid from our contractor. I'm going to keep it easy today and just leave the dollar amount alone. I'm going to go ahead and select Next, which is going to allow me to enter that check number. We always want to make sure we have some kind of identifying criteria for our receipts. I'm going to put in just a fictitious check number here. You could take a photo front and back of the check. It's obviously not a requirement of the system. I mean, for the most part, we expect that our users are holding on to those stubs of our received payments, whether that's in a folder, hard copy, or what have you. So I'm going to go ahead and select Done here. This final screen is just finalizing that this is a transaction, a receipt type of transaction for this particular source document, our pay request that we selected for this particular dollar amount. I'm going to go ahead and select Done here. We can see that balance is now removed. We've got a payment amount in the paid field. The retention hasn't been billed yet, so it's going to sit here, and then obviously our invoiced amount, which captured billing that this payment is applied to. So as it stands, we've created a payment, but we know that these payments need to be posted to our financials. True offers us the quick ability to jump to that transactions module with the View Transactions button. What's really handy about this View Transactions button, as we create multiple pay requests, we have multiple payments. Our View Transactions button is only going to look at transactions related to this particular contract. So I'm going to go ahead and select View Transactions. And there is our receipt that we just entered. We saw that unique check number that I entered. It's got the check number also propagated here as well. This is the source document, payment in which this is made towards, and then our dollar amount here. Now we can see that accounting status is unapproved. We simply just created the payment a few moments ago. Now our ability to get this into the financial side of the system is our next step. So we're going to go ahead and using that checkbox for the transaction, just like when we create journal entries in all other areas of the system, we're going to select the purple accounting button and select create entries. Now we can see we are debiting undeposited funds. We are increasing undeposited funds, and then we are depleting this record from our AR report, or that dollar amount that's sitting out there outstanding. So when we created that receipt transaction, had we selected a bank account, that would have been the account that automatically gets debited here. So depending on how your internal procedures are set up with creating these payments and whether or not they need to go directly to a bank account or undeposited funds, it's that section, that bank account / credit card field, that we can use to dictate how we want receipts to be entered in the system. When that bank account is left blank, we are going to honor how we've set up our company default ledger accounts. And in this particular case, I've got the bank account or the cash account selected for undeposited funds. At all times when we create these receipts, we want our users to go to that transaction and then create the journal entry for the transaction as well. That's the step that we're on here. I'm going to go ahead and select the journal entry and use the post all option so we can just make sure that this record has now been included in our financial statements. We'll go ahead and select OK. True is just alerting us that, hey, this journal entry is posted successfully. Now, utilizing the back button, True is going to jump back to where we just were. We can see that accounting status. It's now posted. That's important that all receipts, not only do they get, in some cases, added to a deposit ticket, but equally as important is creating the journal entry for these receipts. Two different options that we can take to add this receipt to a deposit ticket. We can select the transaction and simply add it to a deposit, which is going to basically create a new deposit ticket in the system. Now, alternatively, we all know that we create receipts all day, and then as we take those receipts, we want to deposit all of those receipts, one lined up or one total dollar amount, to our bank account. So rather than creating a new deposit from the transaction, what we also invite our users to be able to do is go directly to the deposits module, that deposit ticket module. We're going to utilize the green plus icon because we're going to create a new deposit ticket. I'm going to put in today's date and the bank account. This is where we tell the system, hey, I want to take dollars out of undeposited funds in this deposit ticket and then translate them to the bank account that I've selected. We offer the ability to select multiple bank accounts and add deposits to multiple bank accounts. In this case, I'm just going to use Check 12 bank accounts. Now, we've got to be able to add all of the receipts that we enter in a given day to a deposit ticket. So using the plus icon here, True is going to look at all deposits that are in the system that aren't added to a deposit ticket currently. I'm going to scroll to the bottom here, knowing that we entered this receipt today. We can see that transaction number that True uniquely assigns to our record. I'm just simply going to select it, and bam, there it is. We've added that receipt that we entered to a deposit ticket, which we can then create a journal entry to conduct that movement from undeposited funds to our checking account. So let's go ahead and do that now, just to exemplify our instructions here. So this unapproved toggle is indicating that, hey, we've created this deposit ticket, but it hasn't yet been posted to our financials. Now, of course, today's instructions, we're just adding one particular receipt here, but we always invite users to be able to add multiple receipts to one specific deposit ticket. I'm going to go ahead and simply create the entry for this deposit ticket. And lo and behold, We are crediting undeposited funds. When we first created that receipt, we increased undeposited funds and decreased accounts receivable to remove that from the report. But the deposit ticket is where we take the dollars out of undeposited funds and then place them in our checking accounts that's located on our balance sheet. We want to be able to conduct these movements in kind of sweeping manners and make sure that when we deposit one or multiple receipts to our bank account, we have these deposit tickets that will then match up come bank reconciliation time. So we can see here, we've got our date, our period. We can go ahead and post the journal entry now for the deposit ticket. So we've gone ahead and created a receipt for a particular pay application. We've posted the journal entry for that receipt that increases undeposited funds and decreases our accounts receivable to remove that record from the report. Then we went ahead and added that receipt to a deposit ticket to deplete undeposited funds and then increase our bank account. If you've got any questions about this topic, please feel free to reach out at support@constructtrue.com.